Hello and welcome to Engine Adventures off-road review of this 2024 Lexus GX. This is the Overtrail Plus model, and before we really get into the off-road stuff, I want to show you a few features that it has. So the first one I want to show you is the KDSS system. So here's your shock, but right back there is the sway bar, and you can see these hydraulic lines running to it. It's a hydraulic system with this linkage here, runs to the sway bar and helps control brake dive, damping, how much it's going to articulate. It does actually quite a bit of work, and it does really well. So I'll put some pictures up of the Land Cruiser and the GX, and essentially the Land Cruiser with the anti-sway bar disconnected up front, you get the same amount of articulation out of the GX. The trade-off is on road the GX is way better to drive. The Land Cruiser was very floaty, just kind of wafts around, whereas the GX is quite smooth and stiff enough, firm enough, but not jerky or harsh. I really like it. Anyway, there are a few other things that make this different than the Land Cruiser as well. The suspension is probably the biggest one for off-road use. The other big one would be the twin-turbo V6 instead of a four-cylinder turbo hybrid system. So in the GX, you get the twin-turbo V6. In the Land Cruiser, you get the four-cylinder turbo hybrid. And the drivability of the V6, I just prefer it. It's a little smoother from a stop. It has really good low-end torque, which the hybrid wasn't bad, but interior-wise, your batteries aren't taking up as much space. I just prefer this overall as a package when compared to the Land Cruiser. Yeah, with the Overtrail Plus, you get plenty of additional features. It's got decent tow hooks, tie-down points, but those tow loops on both sides. But the problem is, I mean, they are way under there. So if you get stuck, you're really stuck. I mean, it's hard to get in there to get those out. So overall though, really pretty well protected, and we'll go over that later in the video. Let's go ahead and get into the high-speed portion of the test. All right, we are in dirt mode. 4 high, multi-terrain select, dirt mode. Closest thing I could find to Baja mode, I'll show you the other modes real quick. You have dirt, well, auto, dirt, sand, mud, and deep snow. So we're gonna do dirt mode, and let's see what we can do. Off-roaders, I expect 20 miles an hour. And what I found with the Land Cruiser is it was really good at washboard and didn't like these big bumps as much. It was able to do 20, 21, maybe 22. This thing is pretty similar, actually. We're right in the 20-mile-an-hour range. Some of these bumps are scaring me a little bit. It's partly the spacing and timing. For example, this one right here, right as you come down, there's another bump up. I always slow down there a little bit. As we go over here, we have a nice smooth one here. And yeah, handled that really well. So really, I would put this at an average of same. Let's put it at 22. And again, the wheelbase is a big factor in that. Wheel travel is another one, of course, but 22. So if I were to rank this thing, I really need a washboard road. Toyota vehicles, I shouldn't say that about all of them, but they're really designed for kind of overland style driving. And in the case of the Land Cruiser, it seems like it would handle small bumps really well. And stuff like washboard roads, it would be able to drive over that at really high speed, maintain composure, be smooth, and not just rattle the vehicle to pieces. And this is the same. So the GX really feels, despite having EKDSS, it really feels quite similar to that, in my opinion. again, I needed to have a washboard road to test on because there are a lot of roads. This is a little more of a unique road. A lot of times, if you're in the West, there'll be a lot of roads that they'll have potholes and stuff like this along the way, but the road will be a lot wider and typically have washboard sections on it, and it'll be more like this area before you drop into these big bumps. So this has really small sections of it, but I would need or would love to have a long washboard road to test, because some vehicles would excel there, and the Overland style vehicles, that's more their realm. This would be more a Baja style vehicle. So surprisingly, the fastest vehicle I've tested was the first generation Colorado ZR2. I don't know what generation of Colorado it is, but the first time the ZR2 came out before this brand new one in 2023, 2024 time frame, it did like 30 miles an hour over this. I really would like to test the new one with the wider track, even a little bigger tire, all that kind of stuff. I need to get my hands on a newer Colorado ZR2 to see what it can do, but this track seems to be more built around those. That was faster than the Raptor and TRX over this course. Those ones are obviously 14 inches of wheel travel. They're designed for high speed in the desert, and that's kind of these types of bumps that you see here. All right, in the off-road pages, just go to here, off-road information, and there you go. Hopefully the screen's not flashing. It looks like it's flashing a bit. Just a refresh light lining up with the camera film rate. Anyway, pitch and roll, and it just shows what traction's going where. It shows you how you're turning your wheels, all that kind of stuff. I'm in normal mode and just four-wheel drive high, just how you'd be driving down the street. Say you're going to your house way up on the hill and it's snowy and you're losing traction. This is the mode you'll most likely be in as you drive to your house. And I was a little worried about that. Anyway, so this would be a pretty steep grade. So let's see what happens when your wheels start to hit the ice patches. I might need to go move one rock. We'll see how this goes. And I don't have an outside camera at this point, but all right, so those two are spinning. I'm full throttle right now. I don't like that. It's not able to do it. I'm kind of surprised. So if I hit multi-terrain select, let's grab something deep snow. Matches our scenario. Let's see what it does. Still not doing it. Okay, can I lock the rear in 4 high? I'm guessing that's a no. All right, fine. So I could lock the center, and it's locked there. It's not gonna make much of a difference here. As those wheels are still spinning anyway. So let's go ahead, flip it into 4 low. I was expecting it to make it in 4 high. And now back into drive. The center's locked, but we're just gonna drive it in 4 low. And I can hear the ABS working. A-track, I guess would be the actual phrase for it here. I've got kind of 2 wheels off the ground. You can see it, those 2 are pretty much up off the ground here. Yeah, not bad at all. It's able to do it. So a little bit of a letdown. I couldn't do that in 4 high. We'll come back to this hill in a little bit and do some more playing, but yeah, overall not bad. Now we're in 4 low. Nothing's locked, so the center's not locked, the rear's not locked, and the front doesn't lock. And we were just in normal drive mode, auto, I guess. You have sand, mud, and rock in 4-wheel drive low. And those do adjust how the A-track system is going to work pretty significantly. But what we're actually going to do, we're going to start, let me put it in drive. Still. There we go. Okay, we're going to start off crawl control. So you use the same dial here to change the speeds. We're just going to go down the hill with the lowest one. And the crawl control is a really nice feature. It's so much smoother now in the new ones. I'm reading 0 miles an hour. That's how slow this thing can go. And actually, let's throw up these cameras, and you still get the off-road stuff here. So we're gonna drop in here, and we're approaching 20 degrees sideways. It's actually about 15. Now we're 20 degrees facing straight down, and really not an issue. This crawl control is almost silent. I don't know if you hear the pulsing. Barely even hear it. So when they released the new Tundra, they being Toyota, the ABS system was reworked to accommodate it. I just drove over a rock. I'm gonna go move that. This is not a good way to park. It's very steep. Apparently this rock is big enough to hit on the suspension on this thing. So, all right, back to my story. So with the new Tundra, which would be what, 3rd gen, when it came out, there we go. When it came out, they released these new spherical ABS valves. They're so smooth and so quiet compared to the old ones. And really, now I'm starting to hear the brakes a little bit more, but I don't hear the pump nearly as much. Really, it's the best system on the market for this that I've tested. I have not tested Land Rover. Somehow I need to get on their list, but I'm not yet. So, as far as everything else goes, this is the best system I've tested. And now the creaking and stuff you hear is just the brake pads on the discs. But really, overall, it's a really nice system. So much smoother, so much quieter. And I'm actually going to turn up the speed a little bit. And then once we get to here, I'm going to turn off the crawl control after this last little bump. Okay, bring it to a stop, and we're going to shift to manual mode. We're just going to go back to multi-terrain select. So now we're in 1st gear 4 low, and I want to show you the difference with engine braking. I have to use the brakes here, but it ran up to 6 miles an hour. I'll put the crawl ratio up on the screen. The crawl control is so much more controlled, so much smoother, just a better system overall when you don't have super low gearing. It's mad at me for not putting my seatbelt on, but on the steep hill I couldn't. Anyway, so without super low gearing, it's definitely nice to have crawl control. When you do have low gearing, you can lock the center and rear differentials and just have at it. And, you know, put it in 1st gear, low range, and it will be very controlled as well. Anyway. All right, so we are gonna try, oops. Oh, why did it do that to me? It's because it changed the throttle. Interesting. So the throttle is like less sensitive in sand mode. Interesting. I would see for rock mode being a lot less sensitive, but I guess auto is just normal throttle, and then from there it would adjust. So for sand mode it's going a little less sensitive, but in sand you typically want a quick throttle response. If you're stuck, you want to ease slowly out of it, or when you're starting from a stop, but then from there you want a quick throttle response. And I don't know if Toyota has programmed it that way or not. So I can hear, there we go. Hear the brakes, hear the ABS going. So it doesn't like it. Ease back off. Now, mud mode, it's going to be kind of an in-between the sand and rock mode. And I honestly, mud and sand mode to me would be essentially the same. But here they put, you know, the throttle response is actually, it's a little higher in mud, so you get a little quicker throttle response, it felt like. But as far as like the braking intervention and stuff, it's minimal. But here in rock mode, it's gonna break those spinning wheels immediately. And I'm giving it way less throttle, just easing right up it. So rock mode makes a big difference for applying the brakes, you know, using A-track to get through that. We're gonna do it one more time, and I'll lock up the center and rear diffs. Honestly, locking the center helps. Like leaving it unlocked, it's nice being in 4-low, having the center diff unlocked, especially backing a trailer into a parking spot uphill. I know I always use that example, but it's true. And even going downhill, it didn't like me pushing both of those at once. Can I not? Okay, so I'm pushing that. It flashed red. There we go. So center diff locked. It's trying, it's trying. You have to get a little bit of differential action. There we go. And now, so you have to have the center locked in order to lock the rear. You have to be in 4-low in order to lock the rear. There we go. And I'll verify that. I'll put it in 4-high and see if I can lock the center and rear. But now you're gonna get a lot of driveline binding if you're on pavement or whatever. So most vehicles, Tundra and Sequoia included, when you're in 4-wheel drive high or 4-wheel drive low, either one, you have no center differential, essentially. Which, again, in an automatic, it's not the end of the world backing uphill with a trailer, but it's always nicer to have the lower range, lower gearing for better control. All right, anyway, this is useless. Whoa, really moving. We're up to 8 miles an hour here. Don't scrape, don't scrape. All right, we are in sand mode now. Rear locked, center locked, and let's see how it does. So we don't need to go in that one. We'll go in this one here. Essentially, 2 wheels were unloaded there, and now we're the same. So front left and right rear's in the air, front left's in the air, and there we go. The vehicle's actually was rocking there for a second. So even in sand mode, I barely felt the brakes applied there for the 8-track system, but yeah. Even in sand mode, just locking everything up, it's going to perform very well, which is what I expect. So the nice thing about the Land Cruiser is, and many Toyota vehicles, you have the multi-terrain select, you have crawl control, downhill assist, or whatever they call it, downhill control. And if you want to use all that stuff, great, you can. But if you just want to go without the electronic aids and you want to just use lockers, you can do that. You can leave it in auto mode and do that. So it is flashing the rear diff lock when I tried to shift into 4-high. And again, it doesn't want to shift. So we'll roll it a little bit. I guess you can see on here a little better. There we go. So we got the rear, got the center. So now if I hit the rear, yep. So no rear diff lock in 4-wheel drive low. Sorry, no rear diff lock in 4-wheel drive high. When you're in 4-low, you have to lock the center first, and then you can lock the rear. Fully articulated here. I'm sure you saw this angle going up the hill. You can see the sensor going into the shock there. I believe it's actually on the bottom of the rear shocks. But anyway, look how stuffed that wheel is up inside of the wheel well. So There might be room for a larger tire, but not really on this thing. It's pretty good. And look at that side. That is a serious amount of articulation for a factory stock vehicle. And again, that's thanks to the KDSS, and you do get adjustable damping on the shocks as well. You can see right there. So anyway, this thing has really quite good articulation. The front, obviously independent suspension, it's not going to be as good, but the rear, that is crazy.
Up front, we can see everything's well protected with skid plates all the way to the transfer case, which is up above the frame rails, but the fuel tank skid and the exhaust sit below the frame rails. And then at the back, we have the spare tire that hangs down a little bit. It's much better in the GX than it is in the Land Cruiser though.
Thank you for watching Engine Adventures off-road review of this 2024 Lexus GX Overtrail Plus. This thing is capable. It's not a hardcore off-roader. It's not going to keep up with a Jeep Wrangler over rock crawling, but for overland style stuff, where you can get into rough, you can get into mud, you can get into some pretty beat up roads, this thing does wonderfully. It's very smooth. The KDSS system, or eKDSS, is really quite effective. Center diff lock, rear diff lock, pretty decent tires, and honestly the 3-peak snowflake rated as well, so good in all weather conditions. Overall, just an excellent vehicle. And if you like all the gadgets and gizmos and doodads to help you drive off-road, it's got them. If you want to hone your skills and work with open diffs and turn off all the traction aids, you can do that as well. So it kind of offers everything for whoever's driving, however you want to do it. And you can lock the center, lock the rear, and be a mountain goat. So overall, excellent vehicle. I love this thing. Love it for towing, love it for daily driving. Excellent off-road. It's just very, very capable all around. And if you liked what you saw, be sure to hit subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications, and give me a thumbs up. Be sure to comment down below as well. If you didn't like it, be sure to give me a thumbs down, do the rest of those things, and comment and let me know what you didn't like about it. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.